Guys, what's going on? It's 8 p.m. on Tuesday night on the East Coast. That means it's time for Proper Royals Live. Thank you all for being here tonight. There are a number of y'all that were already hanging out before I even got to come on the air tonight. Tonight's a solo show, and I do these every now and again for a variety of reasons. But one of them is just that it's kind of fun. I just finished tacos. I did the dishes, and I was like, man, usually like you got to set up the meet and greet before the show with people, give them a rundown of how it works, check some sound, reassure them that they're going to be cool and that I'm going to keep the show going. And tonight it was just like, dishes done, boom, press arrive. Y'all were already hanging out in the waiting room or in the chat area before I even came on. So, so tonight we're going to talk about one of the other cool things about doing a solo show is that I just get to give you some updates on like little things that might not fit other shows. And I always try and give the guests like my full attention and make the show really about them. I mean, I kind of guide it and keep it on brand and stuff, but usually I make the shows way about the guests. So tonight I get to give you a little catch up on what I got going on or cool things that could be happening or thoughts or opinions, that kind of thing. You know, I try not to burden you with lectures. I won't do that. I hope anyway. So tonight I'll get you caught up on what we've got going on. Got a cool project that I've been working on, or really that Jeremy Baud has been working on that he was cool enough to include me with. I'll show you that. If you haven't seen that video, and that video is from Chris Eaton. We'll check that out in a minute. It's getting close to Daytona time. I think we're 5 weeks out. Like, I don't know the actual. It was like, all right, it's a little bit nerdy. Maybe 31 days. No, 38 days. There's 31 days in July, so it throws me off. But we're real close to Daytona. We got it. Those of y'all that are going to Daytona, we got to talk about where we're going to hang out and how we're going to make this hangout work. I know Steven at Leviathan Snakes has been pretty hip on doing that, and I've told everybody that I'm definitely up for hanging out when we're there. Let's get some plans down. Let's make that happen. So we got to talk about that. And then kind of on the show itself, I want to give you an update on it's the middle of the year. We just passed 6 full months of the year. We got 6 full months more to go. And I want to give you an update on where I'm at on my goals for the year. I think it was the first show of the year. Anyhow, sometime in very early January, I did a goals episode. Speaking of Steven was the guest on that. And we both kind of laid out our personal goals for ourselves. And what better time to do a checkup on that than on the solo show? Like, how boring is that going to be with somebody else, just me talking about my goals? So I'll take you through that. And you guys know I'm transparent on my stuff. We'll talk money and just how everything is going. I think it's always good to review kind of core principles, like not only like what I believe in, but it's important to do that with your own, like, that ties right into goals. Like why have goals if they don't match up to your personal principles, right? Like then they're not exciting. Then they're just a task that's got to get done. Then you're not passionate about them. But if your goals and principles align, then you're gonna go kill it is what you're gonna do. I met I'll tell you about it in a second. I want to talk about Patreon tonight. I got mixed emotions on Patreon, but I got a little different perspective this week. I'll tell you how I got there, and I'm curious of your input. And then we got to talk USARK. I know that it's the last thing we all, sometimes we just need a breather and we need to come up for air. But, Florida is really becoming like the epicenter of what the reptile fight's going to be. And we'll talk about that. So there you go. Goals, principles, Patreon, USARK, and an update. And anything you guys want to talk about. I got to look like I'm excited because I can like talk to the camera without having to stay engaged with my in-studio guest. But your comments are over here. So I'm going to try and stay engaged with everybody. And I just want to tell y'all thanks for being here. I could do a little more of the personal stuff with you in the audience too. So if there's stuff you want to know about or you're curious about or you didn't think was a good time to ask when there was another guest on out of respect for them or whatever it might be, let me know. I'm open. If you haven't realized by now that I'm an open book, well, I am. So if we've not met before, this channel is all about my family's journey from ball python hobbyist to ball python business. I do a live show every Tuesday night. Usually there is a guest. I'm coming up on, I think I'm at like, this is my calendar over here while I keep looking over here. I'm coming up on a year of, I think I'm 11 months in on doing this show every Tuesday night. This is only my third solo show. So we always have a guest. It's always ball python or reptile related. And we stay on topic and we actually talk snakes and business and community and marketing. And, we got a pretty cool chat. I don't want to say we're the best around, but look, there's 33 of y'all hanging out 5 minutes in. This is pretty cool. And I know most of you too, which and I've come to a cool place in my journey in this community is that I've gotten to meet actually a lot of you all now too, between shows or going on your show or in person kind of thing. So this is all pretty cool. So let's get down to it. I hope you'll hang out if you're new here and, consider coming back. Also regular, regular content on YouTube each week. Usually I put out 2 videos a week and I do this live show again, all ball python related. So updates on YouTube videos, man, this was the week of collaboration. It was cool. So it's really ironic that I don't have a guest tonight. This week, Steven at Leviathan Snakes, he and I did a collaborative video, ended up being a series because I think we talked for like 3 hours one night about brand building and marketing. All right, I got to stop. Pope County Pythons. Thank you. That's awesome. Those of y'all that don't know, any super chats or stickers go straight to feeding the ball pythons. So, you definitely get a shout out and you get to help me feed a snake. Pretty good deal, I think. No, all joking aside, thank you so much, Pope County Pythons. That's awesome. Stephen and I, what we did was we put together a hypothetical scenario of a couple that was starting a ball python hobby / business, if not business. And we go through the whole process. So I'm full of opinions, but Steven's full of some pretty grounded facts. He's a professional at marketing. That's what he does for his career. And I just bring my real life experience and some business savvy to the conversation. So what we did was we filmed it, and then it ran so long. I released half of the video, the first half on my channel, and then shipped the rest of the video over to Steven and released the second half on his channel. And so that's out this week. So if you saw the first one, I think that the hypothetical names in our scenario were Jenny and Aaron. But if you saw that and want to catch up with where Jenny and Aaron ended up, check out the video at Leviathan Snakes. Steven, you got to make a comment so that people could see. It's Leviathan Snakes, though. On YouTube, you will find that video there. I also filmed, this is really cool. I filmed a video with Joe from Kingdom Pythons, and I think Joe's in the audience, or he was earlier commenting. So get this, Joe is breeding ball pythons in his high school classroom, and like not one or two. Joe's got, if I recall, just off the top of my head, Joe has 39 snakes in his classroom, and it was real cool. I think I'm going to get this video out on Sunday, but it might be next week. But I think it'll be out on, it might be out Thursday. It'll be out either Thursday or Sunday. It will be out either Thursday or Sunday. So Joe breeds these ball pythons with his students. So he's a science teacher and teaches a ton of topics in science, but he's a science teacher. And so there, he's teaching genetics with the ball pythons. He's also teaching like various case studies of where, he's looking at humidity levels, temperature consistency. What's the word where there's the variety within morphs? Just having a nerdy conversation on Jeremy Warfel's show the other night about this. When there's variety within the very same morph, it's not a different gene, it's the same gene. Somebody help me out in the comments. But Joe was teaching all of that in the classroom, and I thought that was super cool. But then we got talking. Joe is also you know, he's got to cover some overhead, so he's got to keep some of them. So there is a business aspect to it, but he runs basically a setup for the kids being able to adopt the hatchlings that they've worked throughout their high school time to breed, to be able to adopt those snakes and take them, as long as they have the proper cage and that they know what they're doing on the skills and handling and caring for them. And they get to learn that under his supervision in the classroom. Super cool conversation. We talked for nearly an hour. And like I say, I'll have that video out this week. It'll either be out on Thursday or Sunday of this week. So keep an eye on that. Joe from Kingdom Pythons. Also check out his YouTube channel. The kids drive a lot of the YouTube content as well. So it's this just big cumulative effort that they're all working on together. And then if you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. Antoine from High Desert Pythons was cool enough to come on the show or on my channel. We could never get our schedule right for him to come on to the live show. And I guess I'm doing a good job when the appearance is that everything I do revolves around ball pythons, and a heck of a lot does. But like Antoine, or Antoine like me, he's got a full-time job. He's got a second business that he runs, which is his MMA gym that he runs. And he does all the stuff that he does with ball pythons. And on top of that, he's running his Patreon and everything else. And he just vended this weekend too. So that guy's doing even more than I am. And we just couldn't make Tuesday nights work. Tuesday is Antoine's, I think it's Muay Thai, but he's got an MMA class that he teaches on Tuesday nights. And that's his business. He can't just go telling his students, I'm not going to be there. It's like me. If I have a gig, I got to go. It's what pays my bills. So we could never make Tuesday nights work. And what we finally did was mainly, I see your question, just a second. And what we finally did was we just said, hey, why don't we just hang out and record it, and we'll pick a topic and try to stay on it. You know how we wander in conversation, which is great, which is fun. Antoine's super genuine. And I think I said this to him in the video, or I hope I conveyed it to him. I really enjoyed spending the time with him, because you get to know somebody better when you actually have a conversation than through the filter of social media comments without context. You know, you could read something that somebody types, but not see a twinkle in their eye or a passion or a fight in their soul or whatever it might be. So it was really, really neat to do that with Antoine. What a good dude. Like, he's good. He's really good. And, you know, we ended up talking for a while, a little bit of a spoiler. We talked a lot about marketing and building your brand and followers and social media and the ball python community. I just told him at the end of the day, like, all the stuff that he does, he's right. He does a lot of it, but that guy is the magic. It's him. He's the one. He's his own secret sauce, man. He's fantastic. So anyhow, huge praise to Antoine at High Desert Pythons. Thanks for coming on my show. And all transparency, man, he pushed it on Instagram. A whole bunch of new subscribers. If there's any new subscribers from Antoine's channel, or that were introduced to me by Antoine, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for checking it out. I'm really humbled. I had a really, really great time. And he's going to be at Daytona. We're going to hang out in Daytona again. Another reason I got to figure out what we're going to do on this hang. Speaking of Daytona, I think I told the story once on the live and maybe some in private, but I'll tell it again. Jeremy Baud, who's been a great friend of mine. Check out his Baud's Exotic Reptiles. Check out his animals, his Morph Market page. Last year, Jeremy, I think it's 28,000 raised at the USARK auction. And let me back up. USARK, the reptile lobbying group that looks out for our rights, and we're up against some real challenges these days. So I mean, they're a crack team of lawyers and just fighters. Holy cow, they can fight. They do an auction at Daytona every year, and there's all kinds of stuff, from animals to personal things that a breeder might have donated to, incubator manufacturers, rack manufacturers. All this stuff gets donated to the auction. Then they auction it off, and all the money goes to USARK to fund their legal fees. And what happened is Jeremy last year constructed, created, built. I don't think he whittled it. That's not the right word. Jeremy's a great carpenter and a cabinet maker, and he made a mystery box that people could shove money into, but you couldn't get the money out until you smashed the box. And this box, what would happen is somebody would buy it, win an auction for $10,000, $12,000, and then they donate it back to USARK. And the next person that might have only been willing to go $8 or $9 grand on it, boom, they can go, they bought it. And then the next person that was only willing to go 6 or 7, boom, they bought it. At the end of the night, when this thing was done being auctioned and given back and re-auctioned, it was like $28,000 that Jeremy bought, that his mystery box had raised for USARK. So he goes, I got to beat it this year. And the cat's out of the bag now. I'll tell you, he called me and said, can you help me out? And we worked out a deal. But he's gotten a ton of people in the industry involved in this. And one of them was Chris Eaton, who made a promo video for this project. So I'm going to play that right now, and then I'll fill in the other gaps for you. All right. How cool is this? Check this out. Special thanks to Chris Eaton as well. He sent this to me, gave me his blessing to play it, all that, and steal it. He knows that I'm playing this. Thanks for his participation too. So this is Jeremy Bod's Exotic Reptiles, his project for this year's USARK auction.
Okay, so what we got here is pretty fucking cool, man. 15 Minutes of Lame Season 1 alumni Jeremy and Jeannie Baud over at Baud's Exotic Reptiles. They went out and they got themselves a guitar. Then they got that guitar signed by the original pioneering big dogs in the reptile hobby. I'm talking guys like Ralph Davis, Kevin McCurley, Brian Barczyk, the Sutherlands, Ty Park, and more. And guess where this thing is headed? To the Daytona 2022 National Reptile Breeders USARK auction. Maybe, just maybe, one of you guys could own a piece of fucking history. The only way to win this guitar is show up at the auction and bid. Help out USARK, own something bad. This is literally the only one of these guitars in the world. Get your down to the Daytona USARK auction on Saturday, August 20th at 8 p.m. at the Daytona Hilton. And bid on this guitar, support USARK, and potentially be a part of reptile history.
How stupid cool is that, right? So first off, I'm just excited that just to see what happens with that guitar. What that has to do with me at all is that, as I think if y'all have watched the show before, you know that I'm a musician and I play professionally. And Jeremy calls me out of the blue one day and he says, Adam, you got a guitar for sale? And I was like, yeah, I do. And I kind of hesitated. And I was like, what are you talking about? Do you play? And he was like, no, I don't play. And I was like, all right. And why I hesitated was that guitar is a custom. When Chris Eaton said that's a one-of-a-kind guitar, it truly is from all the signatures. But even before the signatures, it was one of a kind. I basically imagine it taking a car, stripping it down completely, and then hot rodding it the way that you want it to be. I did that, including with the neck. I threw the old neck away that came on it. So it's a Fender body, but everything else is my doing. The neck on it, I finished myself, installed everything on it. The tuners, did all the setup work, rewired, threw out the pickups. The pickups are brand new, high-end Lawlers if you're into guitar nerd stuff. All the electronics are new, wired, soldered in by me. Special circuit put in there that I love. If you're really nerdy into Telecasters, it's got the 4-way switch on it so that both of those pickups connect like humbuckers. And oh man, I love it. But that guitar I originally bought, the original guitar that I bought, that's just now the body remaining and the rest I put on it, was I bought that the summer that I was caring for my mother when she was in hospice care before she passed away. And that guitar has always had incredible sentimental value to me. And I don't really use it. It was my stage guitar for a long time. I played around the Southeast with that guitar. But I play different music now, and I have what I need. And it was just kind of taking up space. And that's why I was like, well, it's kind of for sale. I did one of those things, like I listed it for sale, but I'd put a really high price on it so that maybe secretly it wouldn't sell. But when Jeremy asked if I had one for sale, and then he told me what he wanted to do with it, I was like, that's the perfect thing. That's what I need it to go to. I know that it'll do good. It won't just sit in somebody's closet, or it might, but it will have funded USARK. Even if they hang it on a wall, it'll be a trophy and it'll be special. But it's truly one of a kind, and there. So I hope that thing sells for a huge amount of money, and I hope that it gets. I just can't wait to see. I'm excited, Jeremy. Thanks for including me on that. And to Jeremy's credit, I can't take credit. I have to be clear. I did not donate that guitar. Jeremy was kind enough to, I'll say, reimburse me. We worked out a deal, and it was very good. So, Jeremy, thanks. I'm really, really glad to be a part of it. So there we go. How cool on like the news catch up. Here's my thoughts, because I know that not everybody in the audience is going to be at Daytona, and we'll get to the content of the video rather than just talking about stuff that only a few people are going to be able to do. If you're going to Daytona, shoot me a note at either Instagram Messenger or properroyals@gmail.com. Let's figure it out. So the auction is scheduled from 8 till midnight. That's a long auction, and I know the beverage is going to be flowing at that auction. So, and we got the show the next day. So I'm wondering, maybe we don't. I was thinking we'd go out after the auction, but I'm wondering that maybe we shouldn't go out after the auction. Maybe we have dinner before the auction, or drinks, or maybe I don't know. Like, I know where there's like a Gritty Irish pub. I looked it up. It's a 12-minute walk. It's 3 blocks down the beach and 1 block off the beach. But that's not going to be any fun at 5 or 6 at night. I mean, it would be fun, but we're probably going to need to eat, and then we got a long night ahead of us. So we need to think about what the heck we're going to do in Daytona, where a good hangout can be. And I certainly don't need to be the ringleader. Anybody who wants to can. I just want to hang out and catch up with y'all that I see in the chat, and get to meet you and have our own little time of camaraderie. You know, I'll check with Keys too. I'll see what he's up to. I know that he'll be planning something. So. But we got to get something down. Like, somebody's just got to be the decider. And I don't know the Hilton well enough. Like, is the hotel bar good enough, or should we, like, is there a killer restaurant of some kind right there we need to go check out? Let me know. Whatever we need to do. Not enough time for dinner before the auction. Yeah, you know, if we've been working all day, but there's 3 hours. The show ends at 5. I'm sure that if you're selling, you're going to be there a bit later. Yeah. Guys, I don't know. Tell me what's up. I defer to you all. Yeah, I got you, Creme de la Clutch. I saw that. Anyhow, we need to figure that out and figure out what's up with that. So let's see. Mainly Morphs asked earlier, when's Dr. Seidel back? I don't know. I haven't talked to her recently. Everything's cool as far as I know. I got to get in touch with her. So I made a note down here. I'm going to check out. I'll shoot her an email. I forgot one thing too. I'm all amped up tonight. Y'all don't know. You're about to know. I'm on vacation, man. As of about 4:30 this afternoon, I'm on vacation. I'm flying out to Colorado tomorrow. Thursday night, I'm going to a show at Red Rocks. Friday night, I'm going to a show at the Fillmore downtown Denver. Saturday, probably go out to the mountains. And Sunday, I'll fly back home. But somewhere in there, another cool thing is John from Incoline. We're going to try and catch up maybe Friday night, hopefully, after it's an early show that's downtown there. But I'm pumped. I feel a little – it's a funny story. I saw some interview one time with Paris Hilton, and she was like, yeah, I'm going to take a vacation. I remember in my mind being like, a vacation from what? Like, that's all you do is vacation. Like – I'm so blessed right now that life is, I'm really happy with what I do. Like, I have home time, I have work time, I'm raising ball pythons, I'm doing live shows, I'm playing live music. The hell do I need a vacation for? Like, it's fun. I get kicks on it. This is great. But I am really excited. I'm going to go see an old friend from high school. He was in my wedding. His daughter's same age as my son. Just an old brotherly kind of friend, you know, go check out his family and go see them. It's been about 3 years because we got COVID in the way and all that. So I'm excited. I'll be out in Denver for a few days, catching some live music, old friends, and hopefully get to meet John in person. This will be really, really cool. Didn't Colorado legalize ball pythons? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I know other stuff they legalize. It's not really up my alley, but I'm almost like, when in Colorado, should I? I don't know. Anyhow, but I'm looking forward to going out there. Any ball python shopping on vacation? No, not at all. Actually, one of the things I'm going to talk about that is some of my spending and acquisitions this year was in my goals. Craft beer morphology, it's the string cheese incident. No, it's actually a band called Trampled by Turtles, Americana Appalachia band. String cheese is the next night. And then since I forgot, we got some good music nerds in here. I'm going to see Trampled by Turtles on Thursday night. And then I'm actually really, really pumped. There's this killer punk rock dude named Frank Turner. If you haven't seen him, do yourself a favor. It's like Springsteen and the Clash had a baby. I mean, he's amazing. Anyhow, Friday night, early 5:30 show, Friday night downtown, Frank Turner. I don't even think there's an opening act, and that's at the Fillmore in Denver. So those are my 2 nights. So yeah, Trampled by Turtles, and then Frank Turner. Couldn't get too much more different if I tried, but what would life be if I was normal, right? I restaurant consultant that raises ball pythons. Like, it's just sorry if you want a normal, I ain't your guy. So yeah, I'll be out there. I've been to Red Rocks, but never seen a show there. So Red Rocks is definitely a bucket list venue for me. I'm really pumped to go see that show. So goals. This segment is not about me bragging or being woe is me. Oh, I missed my goal. None of that. I think goals are important, and I think being honest with yourself of whether you've reached them or not reached them is also important. I'll spare you well, I guess I'll tell you one of the cliches, but like, what do they say on like Shark Tank? Oh, a goal without a plan is just a dream or something, whatever it is. But I think that goals are important because they give you focus and give you something to work towards. And the more concrete you can make those goals, and the more almost binary, almost pass fail. Did you do it or did you not? Did you accomplish it or did you not? It doesn't mean you failed. I could give you a whole speech on failure. I think failure is nonsense. Got to try and keep the language right on here. I was going to say something else. I think the whole idea of failure is nonsense. Experience is always valuable, whether you succeeded or came up short. It doesn't mean that you were a failure if you learned. But so I wrote out 5 goals for that show with Steven at Leviathan Snakes. And I figured halfway through the year, I would look at either A, did I accomplish them? B, am I on track to accomplish it? Or C, is that just gone kind of thing? Oh, crap, John. Oh, dang. I am sorry, man. Yeah, I do remember that fundraiser that me and Paul did. Oh, man. John, I'm sorry. We'll do it another time if we have to, man. My goodness. Hey, my condolences to you and your friend's family, man. I'll get in touch with you. I'll get in touch with you, man. Dang. All right. You got to go. I did a live show with Paul from New Forest Morphs. And Paul, I'm just winging it here, so I'm going to forget some of the details. I believe it was around Christmas time. And Paul was genuine enough to come on and say, Adam, what we're going to do is we'll find a random winner from your audience, And he did all this unprompted. I didn't know he was even going to do this. Like, normally I don't like people taking over my show, kind of like, be the guest, let me be the host. But he goes, we'll pick a random person from your chat, and right here, right now, tonight, what we'll do is I've got $100, and we're going to give $100 to a charity of their choice. And I was really taken aback by it in a great way. And it kind of hit me hard. And I just considered my situation in life. And I said, you know what? I got $100 to share for a good cause as well. And so we ended up picking 2 winners. And John's friend was one of the causes that we had donated to that night. Best to you, John. So goals, I think that they are important to hold yourself accountable, because I don't know about you, I could get distracted. Time, weeks, months can go by. We get bogged down in stress and other things that we forget about. And we just we end up just going through life or just getting by kind of thing. So anyhow, I like writing down goals. I'm not quite at the point where I have like, this is going to sound demeaning or belittling. I don't really mean it belittling, but I do chuckle. Like this is when I know that I've become the old dude in the room, but like the vision boards, or what's the other word that they use? Like, we're going to dream it and it'll make it happen. I'm going to manifest this and it'll come true. That's not really up my alley, but if focusing and staying driven to complete a task, to see it through until your goal happens and your dreams come true. Hey, if a vision board, or if that's the definition of manifestation, then fine, by all means, I'm down with it. Mine is these, I laid out these 5 goals. And so the number one, which I'm going to chuckle at, and mainly asked if I was going shopping for ball pythons when I'm out in Colorado. My number one goal for the year was to buy a double visual recessive, ideally a clown pied. And if I needed to, at the time, I was actually flirting with an investor that we were going to work out a deal where it was a good buddy of mine, but where he was pretty much going to front the money for the snake, but he would be a partner owner in that snake and the future offspring of that snake. Economically, things got a little weird since late December, as we all are living, and that got put on hold. But what I was chuckling about that I didn't write in my goals was, on paper, that was to be my only snake that I bought in 2022. And those of y'all that know me know that is utter garbage. I thought I would buy one male and that, or one snake at all, and that it would be a male visual double recessive clown pied. So what has transpired since then is that I bought a pair of triple hets. I bought those from Steve Casino at Steve's Morphs, and those are lavender pied axanthic triple hets. They'll be, actually the male will probably be ready this year, but I don't think I have anything I'm going to put them with. I'm just going to wait till the female's ready and then put them together. But then what happened is in February, and that was in January, I bought those triple hets. In February, I traveled up to Washington, D.C. with my family for my birthday weekend, and had a good time. And I'm sitting at the airport at Dulles, about to fly out back home to Jacksonville. And I get a message on my cell phone from a breeder I'd done business with in the past. And he says, "Hey, can you give me a call? I got a business proposal for you." And I was like, yeah, I just spent a weekend in DC. I'm not doing any ball python business, but he's a good guy. And I emailed him back, and he said, "What do you think about buying everything? I got a promotion. I got to move." And I wouldn't be telling you the story if I didn't buy it. So I bought 27 snakes from him. I bought an ARS 5040 rack from him. I bought 2 hatchling racks. I bought thermostats. I bought, all kinds of stuff, other stuff from him on top of it. And so what's that? That would put us at 29 snakes. And then a few weeks back, I went to work a Tampa Repticon with Dale at Constricted Reptiles. And I bought 3 snakes from him, and one was an acid male, not cheap either. The others he made me a really great deal on. I think as a thank you for working with him for the week. But anyway, so my one snake has turned now into 32 for the year, and I still got Daytona coming up. Like, try as I might, I'm sure I'm going to buy something at Daytona, although I need to get some cash together if I'm going to. So that's what happened to goal number 1. Now, all joking aside, we're going to get to a revenue goal here in a minute. If I hit certain odds and my revenue plans go or come to fruition, I actually still would like to buy something along the lines of a clown pied or a candy pied, double recessive kind of powerhouse male that I could put to work. So I'm going to give that a shot, and we'll see how that comes out. But that was the joke that I was laughing about with the goals. My number 2 was for 2022 to be a profitable year. And then my sub goal was actually to be profitable to make up for the losses in 2020 and 2021 when I was starting out. So I wanted to get like net everything I've ever put into ball pythons. I wanted to get back to net even this year. I will be profitable this year. I keep pointing over here. My incubator's over here. I've got 37 eggs in the incubator right now. And I think that they'll range in price on average. Well, that's not exactly the right term. Average is, no, I won't get nerdy as a statistician, as I'm not. But I think most of those snakes will sell between $300 and $500. Some more, and then some will be, het or pos het misses that just won't. But I've got some visual recessives in there. I've got a potential for some double visual recessives, not super high dollar items, albino pied combos. And I've got the possibility for like some Ultramel 100% hets coming along, double het, Ultramel pieds, double het Ultramel pieds coming along. So my goal was my number 2 goal was to get profitable. So right now, I'll just be totally transparent. My expenses on the year, I'm in the hole on my expenses right at $5,000 still for the year that I'm in the red on. So I got to do $5,000 in revenue to get even for this year. Last year, I took a loss of $4,500. So that's $9,500 I need to do in revenue. And then there was $1,500 in 2020 that I was just starting out. So that means I got to do $11,000 in revenue to get net even for everything that I've ever put into ball pythons. Because obviously I've had revenue over those years, but just not enough to overcome the expenses and all the purchases that I've made. But I would be ecstatic to end my second breeding season, my 3rd year in the hobby, totally either net neutral or into the black. And I've got $11,000, nothing to sneeze at, but that is not a distant dream with 37 eggs in the incubator. And I've still got another 3-4 clutches that I am sort of expecting, this late in the season. I don't know. These things are so fickle. Like, you'll get some that just do everything they're supposed to do perfectly, and then you get some that you just can never figure out, So that's where I'm at, and I think that's feasible. And to Creme de la Clutch's exotics statement, you're exactly right. I've been spending time the past 2.5 years now building all my recessive females that are now starting to breed, and I'll have another 8 that'll breed next year. So I'm actually comfortable to go for that revenue that I'm looking for, but it'll also leave me holdbacks, especially if I get those other 3-4 clutches. Then I'm good. And the ball python project brings up a great point. Yes, the ultrasound is on the list. I won't say before I buy another snake. Before the year ends, though, I will buy an ultrasound. That's what's gonna have to happen. Beastmorph says I need 50 or 60K to break even. This is where my argument, when I say I took a little bit of a slower path coming in, but I'm to even now, with a really, really good foundation where I can just floor the pedal off the line going forward now. I can't say that I don't know. Time will tell if that made sense or not. So we'll see how that goes. And Leviathan Snakes and we've always talked openly about this kind of stuff. He took a different path, and he's always been respectful to me, and I hope I've always been respectful to Steven and Courtney on their end. But some of it just comes down to simple resources and our time and our place in life and where we're at on various journeys and what's important too. Like as much as I love ball pythons, man, if I got 50, 60 kicking around, I want to buy another rental unit. I want to make that a down payment to another stream of revenue that I'm comfortable with. So I took a little bit of a slower game to it, but like I say, I think I'll be totally, just for my whole business, completely net in the black by the end of this year, and have made up the losses from the past 2 years. So I'm pumped on that, for that to be a goal that I could say that I'm on pace for. As part of that profitability one, to get that, my goal was to triple my gross from last year. And my gross revenue last year was $4,500. This year, I've already sold $5,100 in revenue. So if I do that other 11, 12 on top, I will have actually quadrupled my revenue from last year. Like, we all want to get somewhere as fast as we can, but if I step back and I hear those stats, I quadrupled my revenue. I have no debt. I am in the black gross net, not gross, in the black net since I stepped foot in the hobby. I'm pretty pumped. Like that. That's phenomenal. Sure, I wish I had some different animals. Sure, I wish that I had hit different things. Sure, I wish some of my girls had gone that didn't. I'm moving along. I'm doing all right, you know? So what's up, Kai? Thanks for joining tonight. My number 3 goal on that show that I did at the beginning of the year with Steven was to finish my room and my facility, to get floors, plumbing, and efficiency, my processes and my systems. Again, time goes so fast. It feels like forever that I've had my floors down. So I had concrete floors, but I wanted waterproof floors that I could mop, scrub, clean, spill stuff on, clean it up. You can't really do that very well with concrete that's not sealed. I forgot that was this year. I forgot that I've done that since January in this year. I put down the LVP flooring. And crazy enough, I found a hack. I mean, I live out here in suburbia. There's no soul. It's just sprawling, just home, just cookie cutter homes in suburban Florida. I'm happy with the life I have. It's good. But there's new construction around, and people always have like a box or two of flooring left over. Well, and only needed about 100 square feet. So I found somebody that was throwing away 3 boxes of flooring that they didn't need, took it off of the Facebook marketplace from them. It was free, and put the LVP flooring down. And then the plumbing, I had bought and brought to this home a little over a year ago when I moved from North Carolina. I bought a commercial dish sink. I mean, it's a 2-compartment sink and with 2 drying pans, but in each sink I can fit I can wash, scrub, dump a 50-40 tub in there with no problem. And then when they're drying, I can stack 5 of those tubs in the other sink to dry. And then up on the drain board, I keep the smaller, like hatchling tubs up there. I forgot that wasn't plumbed. I only plumbed that this year. So I got to tell you, those of y'all that haven't heard about my sink before, I love that sink. It is really a commercial dish pit caliber sink, but it allows me to quickly clean and thoroughly clean. And my background is food and beverage, so I'm comfortable cleaning with those tools. I want a clean area. I want a safe area for my animals. And, that's where I do it. And that's how I do it. Man, I'm looking at the comments. You guys are throwing around monster numbers that you're in for. I just got to get revenue. I I'm not going to get into my personal like life savings type finances, but I'm just not willing to let go of that. I think I can build it through revenue along the way. Like I say, I could be wrong. I'll find out in due time. I can't wait for the time when the day comes that I can be justified in saying that I have over $20,000 in ARS racks, and that's not a knock on Jeremy. He's absolutely justified in having that. I just have to have revenue along the way, you know. Will's Hella Heat says, you know, your snakes in those racks, I'm doing something way wrong. First, I don't want to make it a competitive thing. Second, like, I build where I can. I took some risks maybe I shouldn't have along the way. Nothing detrimental to the animals, but, you know, I bought from pet owners. I didn't buy from super well-known breeders. I'm still waiting to see if one of those females is going to prove out. She was a bust last year, so maybe that's 2 years of my life I wasted on that. I don't know. I'll tell you, a lot of times, man, when I see what a lot of other people are doing and producing, I get this like imposter syndrome, because like my first clutch I'm going to cut in a few days is the best that could come out of that clutch is a super inchy banana. Like, that's not headline grabbing, but it's special to me, and it's on my way to what I'm talking about. And then on the other hand, like I say, I might get some double recessives this year. I got amazing animals coming up. I just had to be patient. I bought a lot of females as hatchlings that I've just had to sit on. Thankfully, I will admit, I got a screaming deal on racks and animals when that other breeder asked if I would buy them out, and I did. So, and you got to remember, 11K is the revenue that I still need to do to catch up with those things. That doesn't mean that's all that I've ever spent. It means I made up all of my expenses but $1,500 in 2020. I made up all of my expenses but $4,500 last year. I still have $5,000 to pay off in expenses this year. So that's where what I mean with the 11,000 doesn't mean I've only spent 11,000. It means that's what I still haven't recouped yet. So that probably levels or clarifies the playing field just a little bit on that as well. Yeah, Beast, I agree with you so much. You know, they're fun to hatch and matters you produce what you enjoy seeing. To me, it matters a little bit more, because if I could figure this thing out, if I could build my brand, if this whole Proper Royals thing works out, I don't have to go run a restaurant ever again. I don't have to be in operations. I could just take the consulting gigs that I want, and then I can play music gigs and sell ball pythons. So on the one hand, yeah, I do value just producing what I enjoy. That's the hobby part of it. The business part of it is I feel so close to this, accomplishing this dream. And the restaurant life was good to me, but it's 25 years, man. I told those of y'all that saw the episode with Antoine, this 4th of July was the second 4th of July in 27 years that I had off. My son's 10 years old. My wife and I have a marriage and a family, and like, I can't just have that all disappearing to a career. And I know that I'm fortunate to even be able to say that right now. But that's my dream. That's where it's like, I'm gonna get this. That's why I get you all together to learn what I can from all of you, you know? So, hey, I see some new faces. Robert Whittier, Creme de la Clutch. I think we might've met even at the Tampa show briefly. Maybe not. Maybe your name just came up. But anyway, it's nice to see you. Thank you all for joining and your input. Red Zone Ball Pythons. Hey man, you're you're just like me. I'm here to learn from the community as well. So nice to see some new face. Oh, Wabi Sabi, welcome as well. Tito, what's going on, man? Hey, I gotta tell everybody, Tradesman Exotics has been he's who I get my ASFs from. Talk about community. Like, it's cool to talk to Antoine or somebody across the coast or across the country, but like, Tito's here in town, and he's an ASF breeder as well, and he's who I buy my lives from when I need lives. But you know, we got talking today. We've gotten to where we know each other enough that, like, if one of us is out of town, or if he unsolicited, he just said, hey, when you're out of town, if you need something, let me know. like, how cool is that there's somebody trustworthy? Like, that's another piece of the community, and the social media part of it is cool to reach like out into the world. But man, right in the backyard is always really important too. So anyhow, I think highly of Tito. If you're here in North Florida and you need rodents, check him out. He might have some options for you. Hopefully you don't infringe on the stock that I need regularly, but all's fair in competitive capitalism. So that was, my goodness, that was only, that was goal number 3, finish the room and the facility. That's done. I can't believe I really thought that was kind of a done deal before this year started, but it wasn't. Number 4, YouTube monetized and more than double the subscribers. So I did get YouTube monetized, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It's not, I haven't quit my job, put it that way. But I'll talk about that in a minute, but more than 2 times the subs. So I'm at 1,400 and change, 1,460 maybe. So I think I got monetized right in middle of February, which means when I made that goal, I probably had around 8 to 850 subscribers. So probably on pace to get there. 14, another 400. Yeah, I mean, I'll exceed it a little bit, not by much, but I'll be on pace for that. YouTube monetized. I could do a whole show on that. So just to pull, just to rip back the Band-Aid of what does YouTube monetize do? On a good day with 1,400 subscribers, and I do 2 videos a week, and I do this live show each week. I post on Instagram every day, a reel and a picture, and I always try and figure out some way to funnel people back to YouTube. So like I work at it. On a good day, I make $3. $3 is what I make in ad revenue. And then there is things like the stickers and the super chat, which is cool. But what I didn't realize, so what does that come out to? That's going to come out to basically $100 a month, a little over $1,200 a year. Nothing to sneeze at. That pays for a lot of rats and a lot of ASFs. That's cool. But it's not the rich, influencer lifestyle money. What I will tell you that I didn't realize, Phil, thank you, man. Phil, you're always good, man. I'm going to owe you a guitar by the time next summer comes around, dude. Thank you very, very much, brother. What I didn't realize is, first, that so many customers would come from YouTube. I tracked them last year. Over 50% of my customers that I converted sales with came through YouTube, didn't come from Morph Market. And not the other 50%, and somewhere is a pretty even split between Morph Market, but local Facebook communities, Facebook groups locally, man, they could be exhausting. I know Facebook itself can be exhausting. Facebook groups can be exhausting, but I did convert sales through those groups. So in that way, YouTube is holy cow, William. Jeez. Hey, thank you. I don't even recognize like your name, and I mean that in an incredibly grateful way. I've never met you or had a chance to say thanks or give you a shout out. Killer. My goodness. Tito, I'll be able to pay for those ASFs, man. It's going to happen. Bethune-Cookman in Tallahassee. So yeah, hey, thank you. I got sidetracked there. Completely lost my train of thought. That's what $50 landing in your lap will do to you. Yeah, YouTube monetized. So, but what I didn't realize was how much revenue would come directly from YouTube, Facebook groups, and Morph Market together. It's pretty cool. I sold out of my inventory, other than I've got 3 male double hets right now. They're certainly for sale. But by and large, I'm sold out of inventory, and I'm just kind of in a waiting pattern right now. So I really like what's going on. Yeah, the ad revenue is nice to have a little bit, but it's not much. But but the other things that come from it. And then this is something that's new to me, and I'm still figuring it out. I have not quite figured it all the way out yet. Is the whole brand deal, sponsorship, keeping a balance between not turning, I don't want to ever turn into an infomercial. But on the other hand, if people have a brand or a product that they want to get in front of this audience and an ultra focused ball python audience, then I think that there's a win-win there. And so I've dabbled with some sponsorships. Some of y'all are in the audience that have been sponsors. I'm hugely thankful. Nicole for sure is there, or was earlier. Straight Blast, they are double het Ultramel Clown males, and they're 2021s. They're all above 500 grams. One is a pinstripe, and the other two are normals. And they are they're on Morph Market, and they're also for sale. You could contact me, Morph Market, or directly. Yeah, Jim, you know how to get a hold of me. So if you're interested in that, yeah, Mason, I did get derailed. Oh, Robert, you're going to have all kinds of reason to come to the Daytona show now, man. That's fantastic. So goal number 5 was simply to have 5 to 8 clutches this year. Now, I wrote that goal before I bought 27 other snakes from that guy. So that goal, in my mind, had gone up to around 10. 10 was kind of the over-under. And I think if I'm being honest with myself right now, I'm probably trending under that. I've got 5 clutches in the box. I've got another one that is due actually right after I get back from Colorado next week. She's due on the 9th, a week from today, the 19th. And speaking of a week from today, my guest next week is a breeder named Trey, and I'm going to mess up his name. I've been practicing it. Trey Poera out of Palm Coast, Florida. And Poera's Pythons is the name of his Instagram, and I think he does have some YouTube stuff as well. So Troy from Poera's Pythons will be on next week, but that's the day that she's due. That'll be day 30. Mine tend to go 35 to 40, before they lay. So 5 to 8 clutches. I've got 6 imminent. Will I get to the 10 that I'd kind of reassess my goal of? If I'm being honest with myself, I don't know. Probably not. I got 3. I got 3 of them that are still pairing. I've got one who's massive. She doesn't have eggs in her though. She's gone back on food again, and now she's gone back off of food. She's laying all weird. I don't know. She's yeah, Steven, you see that? That's how it's done. So I don't know what's happening with that big girl. So maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get 9 clutches this year, somewhere between 6 and 9. I'm really, really hopeful that the Ultramel girl lays. I'm really hopeful that the Blackhead Genetic Stripe to Blackhead Genetic Stripe, both of them Het Genetic Stripe go. I've got a pied that it would be just great if she would go. And that's probably going to be it. And like I say, my big girl, I was hoping for Super Pastel Kryptons from her. We'll see. That ultrasound is in my future. Don't worry. That is coming. Yeah, Jeremy, I do. I'm not like when there's eggs there, I'm good at feeling them. But as far as feeling for follicles, man, I'm not good with it. I try and watch their behavior, and I'm still pairing them once a month when we can. Not when I can, when they're showing signs that I should, and when they're cool seeking and that kind of thing. But I don't know yet. We'll see what's up. Jordan, how you doing tonight? Speaking of potential partnerships, I owe Jordan an email a little bit later. Check out his stuff. He's got some hatchlings coming up. He's got an Instagram channel. And you might see more of Jordan in the very near future. So that was it for goals. My honorable mentions on goals were to start an email list. I never got around to that. Like, it kind of feels a little bit old school and spam mail-y kind of thing. I might do it when I have hatchlings, though. I started a customer wish list, and I'll definitely email things out. But like, I don't think I want to just send an email like a weekly like thoughts with Adam. Like how many of my thoughts do you need? So I can't really. I kind of jettisoned that idea. Second honorable mention of goals was the promo merch game. Haven't done a bit of it. Man, I suck at it. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'll get some stickers, I guess. I'll be honest, I don't really get the sticker thing. It's just me. I had a Subaru. I liked stickers on my Subaru. I did that. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe I just gotta get into it. I don't know. I don't know. I'll get some stickers. Oh, I gotta have them for Daytona, right? Maybe I'll get on them. Yeah. Jim was saying a monthly or a quarterly email. Yeah, I think when I have inventory, then I definitely will. Like, if you've emailed me before, I'm going to give you first dibs on your, like, if I have your contact, I'm going to give you first dibs on animals. So, I mean, I definitely in that way will do an email list, but just a regular email, I was like, I don't know. Yeah, Charlie, yeah, they have new hatchlings all the time. Yeah, when I have hatchlings, I will, because as crazy as it sounds, I'm always trying to think how I can bring value to you all, because I'll be the first to admit my skill is probably like assembling a community rather than just spewing knowledge. So, I mean, you all in the chat, I learn as much from, and the audience learns as much from each other more than I could ever provide. So I don't know what content I would send and that kind of thing. But I always want to bring value in an email, but I always want to bring value to the people that do watch and listen. And I think how I can do that is when I have snakes available that you guys get first dibs. So I do have a mailing list. I just haven't sent you anything yet, but I got the list and I have the customer wish list. By the way, if you all have heard of anything pairings that I have that you're interested in, shoot me a note, and I keep a list, and I've got, 8 or 10 requests already. So I'm certainly happy to, and there's no obligation. You don't have to put any money down, or if you tell me I'm not going to pay that for that animal, or my plans changed. No, there's bigger problems in life. I'm not worried about that. So that was the goals section. And as much like grief as I gave the people that have vision boards, I will say my goals stay right there year round. That's how that was when I was like, what am I going to do for a solo show? And it was boom. It was right there. Well, man, we're an hour in. I got to pick up the pace if I'm not going to turn this into a 3-hour expose. I did a video. It was in 2021, which, okay, that doesn't help that much. It was about a year, 15 months ago. I moved back to Jacksonville 14 months ago, and it was before that. And the video was about what kind of brand are you going to be? And we don't all want to be like a full-on business, but if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Morph Market, if you're selling anything, you're a brand. And it was kind of a, who are you going to be? What are you going to be? And it helps to define it. I believe the same, just as I was saying about goals earlier. If you define your kind of your core principles and what you believe in, you'll continue to work towards them rather than just sort of float by kind of thing. It's why Billy has the huge, we can all know it, say it out loud, quality in, quality out. He walks by it every day. His team walks by it every day. When I worked for the PGA Tour, man, we used to laugh, but I could still recite their, corporate pillars and the mission statement. It was in the hallways that every person had to walk by when you went to go get lunch and when you came back to work. So mine at the time that I had written for myself, and I think it's okay if they evolve. We evolve as people, as businesses, as brands. The thing that I written at the time was to produce and sell high quality, purposeful ball pythons. It was simple, but there's real meat there. Produce, okay, I'm going to breed and produce these animals. Sell, that's going to take a lot of work and effort. And yeah, selling one would have technically fit the bill, but I meant moving product, and I did last year, and I've continued to this year, so I'm happy with that. Obviously, quality, it's kind of a cover-all word, right? Like, how do we live? We have to make sure we're living that quality lifestyle when it comes to taking care of our snakes. So cleanliness, sanitation, integrity, hopefully impressive genes. I don't want to scoff at my super inchy banana combos that I'm going to make. On the other hand, is that high quality? Hopefully I'm getting the best traits or the best examples of those genes, but I'd like to up that game a little bit, which I have. That's everything else is something. There's some recessive involved. And then purposeful, that goes back to what I was talking about. For me, purposeful is, am I just being a ball python mill, or am I working towards constant improvement? And that's what purposeful meant to me. I want to be more than just a python mill. I think I'm not knocking it. As things become a business, you pay bills. Like, there's certain things that we just raise to pay the bills. But I'd like to work towards more than that. So I'm not knocking it. I'm torn a little bit, but that's what I'm working on. Then with those core principles that I didn't outline and sort of that mission statement, I think it's important to always improve. We talk about so many people cite Ozzy's philosophy of each year make sure that your stock is improved over what it was the year before. That's one way of always improving. But I think we could look at ourselves and say, how could I be cleaner? How could I make sure that my snakes are as healthy as possible? How can I be more efficient so that I have more time with my family, with my wife and my son? How can I improve so that instead of a 3-day trip to Colorado being really largely my only vacation this year, maybe next summer I can do a week or 10 days away. Okay, I got to build those relationships. I got to improve so that I have somebody that I trust. That what if I got to pull eggs? Summertime's height of egg season, right? Like, I need these relationships. I got to improve. So I continue to work on that on in all facets. I want to do that in work. I do it in music. I still rehearse like crazy. I still learn new songs. I still write. I don't think it's great material, but I work at writing. I try and improve on writing. So always improving. I was going to do a little segment on you're going to go, what are you talking about, Adam? On food safety principles. There's been a lot of talk of diseases among snakes in our community lately. And you remember when COVID first came out and, it was don't touch your face and wash your hands. It seems so simple, so basic, but there's some basic principles that if you do those, you're going to be 80 to 90% better. But you know what? I think I'm going to save that for a traditional YouTube topic. I got some other topics I want to cover tonight, and I think I can make just a video content of that one. So I'm going to jettison that one. We're going to fast forward to the next topic. I want to know, I've always had mixed emotions about Patreon. I want to know what y'all think about it. I'm intrigued by it. After talking with Antoine on the video that I did with him, the conversation with him, I got a different perspective of it. So I want to get your thoughts on it because, again, I don't want to sugarcoat things. I am here to try to figure out how to make this part of my livelihood, make this part of my sort of financial freedom. So if I could bring value to Patreon, then I wouldn't mind giving it a shot. But here's my mixed emotions on Patreon. First off, you all have been incredibly loyal to me. There's 44 of you all watching right now, 70 minutes in, and I've yapped my mouth straight ahead without a guest. Like, this is just me. My challenge with Patreon is, where do I say, well, these folks, they don't get this content. Only these folks get this content. I don't like that, man. That sounds like, it feels like elitism. It doesn't feel like the community I want to build. You've probably caught on that I love punk rock. I grew up, that was always an awkward kid and never really fit in. Plus my family moved all the time. And I think I went to something like 9 different schools in 12 grades. You know, you can do that math. And the punks were the ones that were like, yeah, everybody's equal. You get to be you. I'm like, wow, what a concept, you know? So Patreon doesn't feel that way to me. It goes against those core beliefs. There's also the idea of community. We're better sharing. I keep this book right here. You all have seen me flash it before. Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I highly recommend it. But his whole theme in the book, share amongst each other, show your work amongst each other, and you're going to get way farther than you ever will thinking that you're just one solo lone genius that gets things done because you have some God-given blessing that you're going to accomplish things with. No, you need a group. You need a community. So I'm trying to read you all's comments here. Here's where, and I was pretty convicted in those beliefs. Like I've talked down on Patreon before. Antoine basically said his Patreon is a higher level of access to him and access to a community that does want to pay and separate from a separate part of it. But none of it sounded elitist to me. It sounded like teamwork. It sounded like things like clutch identifications on a on a private stream where everybody could comment together, and that together they could accomplish those goals of identifying the clutch. The group chat on Instagram. So instead of just like 1 hour and a half on Tuesday nights of chat, it would be all together. Yeah. Robert, I love the Devo reference, man. Fantastic. Like the people that we meet, I like at my core, I just love people watching. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Yeah, Will Salahid says, a lot of people are doing it, don't have enough to offer anyone for them. So, but and I agree with you. That largely was on top of a personal dislike philosophically, well, what do I have to offer? But then I got thinking, like, if there was a comfortable community where it was valuable to not have to sift through naysayers and this conversation here and this here, but just ultra focused on whatever was at hand. Basically a 24-hour nonstop group chat. So instead of like an hour and a half on Tuesday nights, it's going that I could moderate and that I could help, or that we could find collective answers to or talk through together. I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth trying. And, Will, I think you're right. On the other hand, what do those folks have to lose? Maybe they're figuring out Patreon. Maybe they're going to be great at, maybe they're going to find a new aha evolution that they do figure it out. I mean, on paper, my model, if I had just said, well, I'm going to talk about what I've been doing because I've been at this for a year when I started. I'm coming up, I'm over 2 years now. But, very little. And hey, in under a year's time, we'll average 45 viewers at a time and, 500 to 600 views total for each episode. I don't think that most people would have said I had that to offer. Then again, it's free. So that makes a difference. Patreon is not free. So I'm not sure. It's interesting to me. But I couldn't bring myself to go, here's only content for the monetized Patreon part. It didn't. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I don't know that I bring enough value for people to want, like I would offer one-on-ones if there were business questions. I might not be the best ball python business person, but I'm a pretty good business person. I've run high volume, high dollar, high team restaurant and resort operations for a long, long time now. And let me tell you, I'll toot my horn a little bit. If you can make money and survive in the restaurant game with it has just razor thin margins, and talk about the punk rock community, holy cow, the restaurants are that scene, man. You can have kids in culinary school working next to the work release dude that if he doesn't do his job right, he's got to go back to prison tonight. I made it work there and I did well there. I'm good at it. So I could help with those, but I don't know. So I'm interested in, if you do, and I see that most people seem to not be that excited about Patreon. So maybe if you do like Patreon, you're maybe not comfortable right now going, me, I love it. But if you do, or you have paid for Patreon in the past, like what have you paid for? And again, I don't mean this in any shaming way. I think there's a few people in the ball python industry that people would pay to just hang out with. Like, I'm not into it, but let me give you a music analogy. If Mike Ness from Social Distortion, after the Stones, my favorite band of all time, easily. If Mike Ness had a Patreon where once a week I could hang out on a live stream and chat with Mike, I would pay $50 a month. I would absolutely do it. So I get that there are ball python equivalents to that. So I get that Justin, Billy, Miguel, maybe Garrick, there's a handful. Apologies if I'm leaving anybody out. I could see that. But there's a lot of people that haven't. I mean, and I'm not fishing for anybody to knock Antoine. I think Antoine's great. He's got a Patreon and it does well for him. And his model was different from what I'd heard, because usually what I hear on the Patreon is special content only you get that all the little people don't get. I don't know. Something to think about. Irish fan Rock 34. I don't think I've seen you in before. Welcome if I've not said hello to you before. Yeah, Brandon at Nixon's Reptiles. Here we go. Thanks, Brandon, for jumping in. It's totally, he says it's totally worth it. Miguel's really isn't, but it's a savings account for an animal too. Yeah. So Miguel's the money that you put in to his Patreon goes to store credit, essentially. I've heard there's a few bumps in the road with it. Patreon's money comes out off the top and then it's store credit kind of thing. So I thought that was an interesting angle. I do think that brings value and returns value back to the consumer. That's fantastic. Obviously, those guys are the rock stars. I don't know if I just saw Jeremy's comment here. Yeah, I got a lot of skills that could pay some bills, my man. So I just don't know. I thought it was an interesting angle. And I don't want to ever seem too full of myself, but if I thought I didn't want to seem full of myself and I shouldn't start a YouTube channel or a YouTube show, I'd never be where I am. So I don't want to settle for just telling myself the reasons that I can't do something. In a snide way, I was kind of mean to somebody one time. They were kind of a downer, like all the time. And I was like, man, you got a problem for every solution. Like, I don't want to be the person that has a problem for every solution. I want to be the one that figures it out. Because somebody did it. Somebody did it first. Somebody figured it out. They're probably admittedly smarter than me, but I don't know, maybe I could figure it out, So I'm thinking of it, not imminently, but I'm thinking of how I would formulate something like that. And I was curious to see what you all think. Stephen brings up a good point. What if you just got the simple desire to support creators that you enjoy? Like, I don't want to start this fight of artists and creators and musicians, but think of life without art. Think of life without content. Think of life without entertainment. And really, it's a really, really good value. Like, this show doesn't cost Sean anything every week, and I'm not begging. I'm not complaining. Matter of fact, tonight's been my most fantastic night of contributions ever. But I'm not saying me. I'm fine. But the artists, the creators, the musicians, they deserve an opportunity at a livelihood if they're brightening our livelihoods, kind of thing, you know. So that's a whole different philosophical conversation, but it's a good point. Thanks for making that, Stephen. So, you know, Beast Morphs is the one that baffles me, is how Hardwick has a big following. Here's what I'll say, and I'm not going to talk about Chris personally. Chris has been good to me. I got no problem with Chris. YouTube and social media, the job of YouTube and social media by design is to connect people that want to be around each other. YouTube will has found a way to sell ads on my channel, which, if I'm lucky, they pay me $3 a day for. I guarantee they collect more than that. The point being, they can do that because they found the audience for me. I guarantee you there's somebody that's tuned in to my show before and gone, I don't understand why anybody watches this guy. He bumbles along. He invites people on we've never heard of. And then he tells us he's relatively new. I don't know. So YouTube, and it's more than that. It's more than just Chris getting lucky. Chris worked his butt off. He found people. You don't have to find many, like 20 people at $50 a month. That's $1,000. That's a mortgage payment. 20 people's not that many people to really connect with and really find that find value in you. So that's where I wonder, like the scale doesn't have to be that big to really move the needle. And I'm not going to pick on anybody. Olympus reptiles are clearly incredibly successful. I don't get it. Not for me. But 218 people on Patreon, let's just say that's even $10 a pop per month. That's $2,200 a month that they got coming in, on top of snake revenue, on top of ad. If I'm getting $3 a day with 1,400 subscribers, they're probably getting 50, 60 a day. I mean, suddenly that's a day. Suddenly you got an income and you got a livelihood there. And again, 218 is not a huge number to reach, relatively speaking, when you think of all the people out there in the world. Hell, Barchik's got 3 million subscribers, not on his Patreon, but on his YouTube. So you could reach people pretty quickly, I think. I couldn't put it better. Alan, I couldn't have put it any better. It's exactly right. Hardwick found his tribe. He worked his butt off. That dude was doing a video a day, and like a difficult video a day. Forget whether it was good content or not. I thought it was fine, but forget whether it's good content or not. The work that he puts in, all those computer pages and screens and scrolling through and writing those scripts, woo, holy cow. All right. I won't say that because I don't know them at all. That's not my style. I try and be a nice and positive guy. I'm a thankful guy. And I mentioned earlier in the show, not to bring things down. My mother passed away from cancer, and she was 59, and I was 30. And I watched it. I was there every minute. I went through hospice care with her, and I've done okay with it. But what it's really encouraged me to do is be thankful for every day. Squeeze every drop of life out of every day. Interacting with you all is something that I find that is fulfilling to me. I have a thirst for knowledge and just a strange curiosity, like, what could be more interesting than a room full of snake breeders? Like, how did we end up here in life? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I love it. If that conveys as positive and genuine and nice, then I'll take that. I'm just not going to go to bed wondering, dang, what did I do today? What should I have done? Screw that, man. Anyway, there you go. That's me. Yeah, Irish fan, you nailed it. Yeah, that would be perfect. I'm probably jumping too many leaps on your name, but if you're into Irish music or rock, I've been lucky enough. We opened for Fog and Molly a few times, so we could even talk about that over beer. But anyway, Kingdom Pythons, the kids like him too. Is that Chris or is that Barchek? I learned a lot from Chris. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's perfect. I think part of the attraction with Chris is just how completely wide open he is. I mean, he doesn't put on any show. I mean, he's who you get. Like that genuine genuine realness is easy to connect with as well. So yeah, Chris, thanks, Joe. I see it. Okay, well, if you have, you guys, you sort of validated my concerns with Patreon. I don't know that you talked me out of it completely. I still might try it. Nothing soon. I'm about to get busy. I keep looking over at the incubator. Like I'm going to be in the middle of hatchling season, and I've got a lot of things that I need to learn how to use an ultrasound is what I need to do. Oh, perfect. The kids like me too. Awesome. Well, and actually, I should be more gracious. I have trouble taking just compliments sometimes. I've always tried to build this channel on the theory that could be family oriented if somebody wants to watch with their family. I also have this weird, and maybe I get it from my mother's experience, but like I don't have much tangible from my mother. So, and I'm not a real big heirloom guy. Obviously, I told the story that I let that guitar go. But I've always kind of wondered, like, well, God forbid, if something does happen to me tomorrow, at least like my son could grow up and hear my voice and see what kind of person I am and all of that kind of thing. So don't worry. I don't have a death wish. I don't think there's anything wrong with me imminently. But I've always tried to be good on, true to who I am. And if kids want to watch, I want this to be a safe place for them to watch too. So there you go. Interesting. Blue Ridge says, and that's okay if you're on for the guys. They are doing their thing and they've clearly found their path. Decided to try it out and stayed for the Discord community. Interesting. So there's another like community vote to get into that certain like really uber focused space. Interesting. Yeah, Rob, good point. I don't know the ins and outs. So Rob says if Patreon's free to sign up for and they only take a small cut, no harm in it. Yeah, I mean, it's like YouTube. What did I have to lose other than learning something? Was somebody going to laugh at me and call me a dork because I'm on YouTube? I don't I don't care, man. Trust me, I've run up against way tougher opponents in life than that. So yeah, I like I said, I got to have more of a plan rather than just wing it. That's not going to go well. But I'm gonna try it. You must be talking about Chris. I have not seen this. His biggest video was him eating a snake egg. Did he cook it? We shouldn't. This is not the content we need here. But I'm intrigued. Like, what is it like? He like cracked it open raw, or did he like cut it open and cook it up? I don't know. All right. USARK. I don't know what I can say that hasn't already been said. I think we get desensitized to things that we hear about all the time, and then we stop talking about them. Case in point, unfortunately, I think we've grown used to the war in Ukraine. Think about when they were first invaded, the incredible support, whether and I'm not calling anybody out, whether you wanted to do anything to support or not. It's become this kind of regular, oh yeah, Yeah, well, yeah, that's what's happening. And I hate that. And I feel a little bit about that way about USARK. So I say this and I bring it up to keep concerns fresh in our minds. On the flip side of it, what I don't like is, and I'm not saying that they are, I'm saying in life, I don't like fear mongering. I don't like sensationalism. I don't like getting people riled up and pitting each other against each other for no good reason. We got enough of that. I'm not going to go any deeper. So there's a fine balance of keeping it fresh in our mind, but not fear mongering. So I'll give you a rundown of what I hear here in Florida. And I've got to, you won't see the difference, but I'm going to be reading the screen here. There's two things. One, if you're in the Jacksonville area, the Florida Wildlife Commission, FWC, they're who enforce the wildlife laws in Florida. And they're the ones that have the power that could outlaw any animal that they want. They're not elected officials. They're hired officials. And they have panels and commissions that take input from people. And it seems like, I'm not going to sensationalize it. It seems like, and it feels like that our input often falls on deaf ears. And then what we have to do is challenge outcomes in the courts based on legalities and constitutional legality versus them hearing the input of the community. And I don't know how to fix that other than to suggest that the whole system be restructured. And as much as I like the idea of elected officials, they're not really leading the charge right now of who I want to say. And this ain't left, right, red, or blue. We can all find something that I think politicians could do better all around as a whole. So, anyhow, there's a FWC meeting tomorrow here in Jacksonville, and I'm flying out to Colorado in the morning. I would go. Otherwise, it is on a suggested law that FWC here in Florida wants to impose. There's two, and I'm gonna make sure that I don't mess this up because I might mess it up. That the items on the agenda to discuss are that if you're ever injured by your animal, you have to report it. If you have a Class 3 wildlife license, which I do have, I have to display or sell ball pythons. You don't have to have them as pets. You do have to if you sell or display wildlife. It's called a Class 3 wildlife license. And on that license, you have to provide GPS coordinates of where your animals are. You have to provide an inventory list of all the animals in your collection. You have to provide an escape plan, an emergency plan. You have to have an emergency contact, essentially a sponsor, somebody that goes, yeah, they could call me, I'll be there in case something happens to you. And you agree to give FWC and other states that call them like game wardens, the wildlife police, you agree to give them access to your facility with or without notice. Essentially, you give up right to a warrant. That's not proposed. That is what myself, all these breeders here in Florida live with. Okay. What they are suggesting that they're going to make a final decision on in Jacksonville tomorrow is that if you are injured by your animal, you have to report it. So there's two problems there. What's an injury? I got on video in Tampa where Jeremy was injured. I saw blood. I replayed it a couple times in the video that I made. Would he have to report that? So the question is, what's an injury? Because it's not so much that you have to report it. It's that it goes in a database and essentially becomes a new flag. Oh, we're going to see if we want to reissue this person's license. Plus, these licenses are reissued yearly. You know how much we put in each year? Like, God forbid they don't give me it next year. I got to go underground. I got a 10-year-old son and a wife and a family. I can't go underground. I got to be legit. Secondly, it infringes on your medical rights. Okay, let's say that it was a real injury, not the Jeremy Bod, ball python strike of doom. I'm trying to have a little bit of fun with this. Where's the slippery slope stop of medical history reporting? We'll just go see a doctor. Yeah, I might need to talk to the doctor about what happened. Oh, you were treated this way because of this condition. All right, so there's privacy concerns on that. The second thing is that the law would state that you would have to self-report an escape. Now, this is tricky, and I don't want to go down the whole philosophical rabbit hole of the whole invasive species topic, because there are non-native species. If you want to talk about the original invasive species, it's the irony is that it's us. I mean, what do we get to be the invasive species and then make the laws about other invasive species? That's a whole different debate there. Really what this is about is a Fifth Amendment issue. An escape or a release would constitute a breaking of the law, and insisting on self-reporting puts you in a Fifth Amendment catch-22. The stuff's unconstitutional. It's why USARK thrives in the courtroom. These things don't stand. But along the way, we all get drug along. We all hear horror stories. Somebody that might want to get into ball pythons in Florida ain't going to do it because they hear of this stuff. Drives me nuts. So that's why USARK needs our support. I heard another interesting fact this week that let me share it with you, and we'll get off this soapbox topic. And I'm sorry. Here we go. Yeah, Sea of Serpents. You nailed it. Go to USARK Florida, the website or Facebook, and there's a change.org petition. And this is a great segue into the stat and the data. If you're like me, I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit, change.org, what's some website that attracts a whole bunch of people going to do? They want 25,000 signatures. I got 40,000 interactions on Instagram last month of me dancing around in a disco light in front of my incubator. Scratch that from the record. Here's where it makes a difference. It's a concerted effort. It's a defined standing and a platform. But here is where, here's where data and facts really cut through. If you were to listen to the Florida media, if not the national media, and I swear to God, this is not a commentary on DeSantis. I'm not going there. I'm a registered independent for the record. I'm not beholden to any one party or any one title. But if you were to listen to the media and the news and just the general perception, the conversation, you would think that DeSantis is living in Florida red paradise. He's become kind of the poster child, seems to be the successor to Trump, maybe the next Republican presidential candidate. DeSantis won the governorship in Florida by less than 33,000 votes. 33,000. The top two vote getters, Andrew Gillum, who's also no saint. I believe he was just arrested. He and DeSantis got just over 8 million votes split between the two of them. And then all the other candidates, I don't know what they got. But of 8 million votes cast in the governor's race, it came down to less than 32,000. Olympus Reptiles has 50,000 followers. Brian Barczyk has 3 million. We can make a difference. We can those politicians need every single vote. We're not that separated as a country. We're not that far apart. They don't tell you that they only won by 32,000 out of 8 million votes. If they take our vote for granted, see, and here's why it matters that I call out DeSantis specifically. As a governor, he has the power to overrule FWC. People in his cabinet have the power to overrule FWC before our dollars have to come out of our pockets to pay USARK to go do their job. I thank God for them, but it shouldn't come down to that. It shouldn't be that way. It's not legal what they're advertising. That's the same with the Lacey amendments that they're talking about. These are guilty until proven innocent situations, not based in fact or science, and they won't stand up legally. But the question is, can we last as an industry, as a hobby, as a community, while these things get through the court system? They're going to take away our businesses and our livelihoods. You heard me talking about what a dream this was of mine and why it's such a dream. I don't want to work the next 25 4th of Julys. Anyhow, if you could sign the petition, I would be personally grateful. If you could support USARK, fantastic. If you want to go bid on Jeremy's guitar, if you want to talk to me, I can't match. I cannot get in the neighborhood of 28,000, but maybe 10 of us could. I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Let's figure out something. If you're in Jacksonville tomorrow morning and you want to go to that meeting and you want talking points, you want to take this and just press play on your smartphone on the comment section, please do. Feel free. There. Thanks for hearing me out. I got to go back and read the comments. Yeah, Alan, hey, thanks for joining and being so active tonight. I really appreciate you. Yeah, you're right. You know, I use the term normalize. There should be reptiles should be normalized. Not to pick on cats and dogs. I got 2 dogs of my own. I'm allergic to cats. I don't have cats. We don't get to call one species a domesticated pet and another an invasive species. Cats in the neighborhood, like people think it's cute and make memes when a cat brings a dead bird. Could you imagine if your ball python strolled up with a dead animal and somebody took a picture and put it on your neighborhood, suburban community chat? All right. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Guys, do what you can. Man, I just busted my mouse slamming it down. Let's see if my mouse is going to work or not. If not, it'll be the show that never ends. There it is. Do what you can for your community. Don't take it for granted. And thanks for hearing me out. 41 of you lasted through my little tantrum there. So thank you so very much. I'm going to go back and read all of the comments because I'm going to get sidetracked here if not. So next week, Poera's Pythons from Palm Coast. I do have some cool guests coming up. I promise all the details aren't worked out, but they are coming up. The show will continue. We're not going to take the pedal off of it. Thank you all so much. William, Phil, and I'm so sorry. At the very, very beginning, somebody made a donation as well, or a nice contribution. Thank you so much. That'll all go to feeding the snakes. It'll be fantastic. Check out the video with Steven on my channel now. On his channel now. High Desert Pythons with Antoine on my channel now. And keep an eye out for that video with Joe and his breeding projects in the classroom. Friends, guys, ladies, gentlemen, I'm out of here. I'm on a plane. I'm going to Colorado, and I'm going to go get lost in the mountains. I'm going to go see some rock and roll at Red Rocks in the Fillmore, catch up with old friends, eat some good food, drink some good beer. When in Colorado, who knows? Be good, everybody. I will see you all next week, Tuesday night. 8 p.m. Eastern, Proper Royals. Thank you all for all the support. I couldn't be more humbled We got up to 45, 46 on a solo show. Hell yeah. Thank you all. Cheers, guys.